in space, no one can hear you scream. With joy! And nothing fills me with joy like playing a Metroid game. Samus Aran has been eradicating the Metroid species while kicking space pirate butt for close to 33 years now. And to think, we only have to wait on Metroid Prime 4 for another couple years. Maybe. Well, since we have the spare time, we might as well go through Samus's epic adventure so far with a complete Metroid timeline. Year around 2000, Cosmic Calendar. Our timeline begins with the formation of the Galactic Federation around the year 2000 CC, not CE, CC. Cosmic Calendar. Planets begin to peacefully interact and work together for the betterment of the galaxy as a whole. This creates a boom of progress and order among civilizations, with great leaps forward in technology and space travel. Even Earth was included. But, of course, not everyone buys into this kumbaya mentality. Space pirates begin popping up, causing all kinds of chaos. Unfortunately, the Galactic Federal Police just doesn't have the resources or ability to track down these raiders across the vastness of the galaxy. To combat these slippery ne'er-do-wells, the most badass profession the galaxy had ever seen was born: space hunters. In other words, bounty hunters, but like in space. Samus's origins. So years later, we meet our protagonist Samus Aran as a young girl on the human colony planet of K2L. The humans are visited by the Chozo, a wise, technologically advanced, avian-esque race. A group of space pirates follow the Chozo to K2L, and they kill everyone in the colony but Samus. Samus's own mother is murdered in front of her eyes by the nefarious Ridley, a pterodactyly pirate general leading the raid. Since the Chozo feel just a little guilty about leading space pirates there, they adopt the abandoned orphaned Samus. They take her back to the planet Zebes and decide to raise her as one of their own. The Chozo infuse Samus with their own DNA and grant her a power suit so that she can survive on the planet. They train her to be a highly efficient killer and teach her to use her powers to protect the galaxy. With great power comes blah 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 blah, you know, eat your heart out, Uncle Ben. All grown up, Samus begins her career as the galaxy's savior by joining the Federation Police. Samus saves a bunch of child slaves on the planet of Jigrad before being informed that her home of Zebes is under attack by the pirates. And so, she has to go save the Chozo. It's the least she could do after they raised her, you know, after they led space pirates to kill her whole colony. Well, at least she has an opportunity to get some revenge on the pirates on Zebes. The pirates attempt to recruit Samus into their galaxy-dominating operation, but she adamantly refuses. He definitely killed the wrong little girl's parents. Though Samus ultimately fails to save her adoptive Chozo parents from the space pirates, she gains the purpose and confidence needed to combat the galaxy's greatest threats in the decades to come, leading to Metroid. So the first game in the series takes place before the other titles? Everyone! Sydney, Mario, Kyle! Timeline that finally makes sense! There's no branching paths like Zelda, there's not whatever the hell Kingdom Hearts is. What a relief. Okay, so it's the year 20X5 and wait, what the hell year is X5 supposed to be? We were so close to some sanity. Okay, anyway, the space pirates make a startling new discovery during one of their spaceship raids. They find a sample of a frightening organism, capable of multiplying rapidly, and it's the likely cause of mass extinction on its native planet, SR-388. The Metroids. The thought of space pirates using this highly destructive life form for their nefarious schemes is beyond terrifying. Something simply must be done. The Federation Police managed to find the space pirates' base on good old planet Zebes, but its fortress is extremely strong. Even a full-blown attack isn't enough to penetrate the pirates' defenses. Their only hope is to send in a lone space hunter to infiltrate the Zebes base and cut off the pirate's head. Well, brain. Mother brain, that is. And who better to take on this impossible mission than the greatest bounty hunter of them all, Samus. Once she's back on Zebes, Samus starts exploring its dark, maze-like caverns. Fortunately, Chozo technology still lies dormant in this planet, and the more she explores, the more she finds useful upgrades to her defense and arsenal. First, she takes on the rocky terrain of Brinstar, before eventually uncovering Kraid's lair. The space pirate's third in command, Kraid is a monstrous, clawing, snarling reptile that shoots spikes out of its stomach. Samus manages to take the big jerk down, collecting the first of two keys to access Turian, the deep, guarded center of the base containing the Metroids and Mother Brain herself. Samus then fights through the fiery Norfair zone before finding Ridley's lair, likely with a little help from Nintendo power. The two rivals clash, and naturally, Samus brings down the fireball-spewing asshat once again. Now, she can enter Turian. In Turian, Samus finally confronts the series' titular enemy, the life-sucking Metroid. Fortunately, Samus is souped up with an ice beam, the one weakness of these multiplying freaks, so she can stop them in their flying tracks. If only they went crashing to the ground, you know, Metroid games and gravity never really went hand in hand. After battling her way deeper into Turian, Samus confronts the heavily fortified Mother Brain. After jumping, dodging and shooting Mother Brain with exactly 32 missiles, the big cerebrum is reduced to gray, doesn't matter. But Samus's woes aren't over. The big bad's annihilation sets off a self-destruct sequence. Samus desperately climbs her way through the base as a timer counts down to her doom. But let's be honest, this climb is cake compared to the final Mother Brain gauntlet that she just went through. At the planet's surface, Samus reveals her identity at last. A girl? Yeah, we already know by now. I remember when I was a kid, I had to take down the "No Girls Allowed" sign from my treehouse after this revelation. Which leads us to Metroid Zero Mission. But Zero Mission shows us that Samus isn't in the clear yet. While flying away to safety, ba-boom! Samus's gunship is shot down and crash lands near the space pirate mothership. The crash renders Samus's power suit useless. Get used to that. So, she's forced to rely on stealth and cunning to survive and infiltrate the mothership. Fortunately, an ever-convenient Chozo rune is located nearby, and Samus passes a test allowing her to power back up. After a final confrontation with an oversized Mecha Ridley, his creator must have been compensating for being second in command, Samus escapes another self-destruction sequence with the help of an escape ship. Get used to those escape sequences too. Metroid Prime. 3 years later, Samus is going about her usual business, hunting bounties and kicking ass, when suddenly she intercepts a distress signal blaring from a space station above the nearby planet, Talon 4. After tracking the signal down, she realizes it's coming from a space pirate frigate, filled with leftover space pirate scientists that slipped through her clutches on Zebes. Samus ventures through the ship, massacring any weakened pirates that she finds clinging to life on the way. Ah, Samus, protecting the galaxy. The Chozo would be so proud. After Samus defeats the Parasite Queen that was creating the chaos in the first place, she chases the escaped pirates and a cybernetically enhanced Ridley to Talon 4's surface. But first, she gets caught in an explosion that renders many of her hard-earned power-ups useless. Again. On Talon 4, Samus realizes that the Chozo had ancient influence on this planet as well, leaving a variety of runes, artifacts, and power-ups. Ah, what luck. Samus explores the Talon overworld in Chozo runes, defeating the toxic Flagra, who is poisoning the water supply. Samus fights her way through Magmoor Caverns and Phandrana Drifts, eventually uncovering space pirate research bases. Turns out, the pirates still had some surviving Metroids, and have also been experimenting with Phazon, a mutating, powerful substance the Chozo referred to as the Great Poison. Metroid plus Phazon equals not good. Samus defeats the rock/Phazon being Thardus and continues to explore the planet, eventually finding the Phazon mines themselves. In the mines, Samus gets a bit of a history lesson. See, the Phazon came to Talon 4 via a meteor, which also brought Metroid Prime, a highly developed Metroid that can eat up all the Phazon it desires. The pirates attempted to capture and study Metroid Prime, but were unable to contain it. Well, Samus cannot simply let such a monster exist in this universe, so she has to take it down. She fights her way through Metroids deep within the mines and defeats the Omega Pirate, a pirate Phazon monstrosity. From there, she gets the Phazon suit, allowing her to survive exposure to the toxic Phazon. After Samus finds 12 Chozo artifacts to access the impact crater, Meta Ridley swoops in and attacks. This time's different, because Ridley is determined to settle the score with his cybernetic augments. I'm just kidding, he loses. Samus then has a final showdown with Metroid Prime. It's a vicious battle, but Samus prevails. In a last-ditch effort, Metroid Prime absorbs Samus's Phazon suit and explodes, leading to another desperate escape as the crater deteriorates. Metroid Prime is destroyed, but it seems this may only be the beginning of a new rivalry. Metroid Prime Pinball. So, after such a huge adventure, Samus is wiped. She falls into a heavy sleep and finds herself in a hellish nightmare where she's trapped in her morph ball form, reduced to a pinball. Hey, I gotta fit this into the timeline somehow. Metroid Prime Pinball takes Samus through everything from the pirate frigate to Phandrana Drifts to the impact crater to take down Metroid Prime itself. There's even a board where she battles Meta Ridley at the Artifact Temple. It's all here in pinball form. Exactly what us fans were clamoring for. Alright, I know it's not really part of the timeline, but it's my favorite pinball game of all time, so hey, you know what? It's staying in. Which leads us to Metroid Prime Hunters. Shortly after Metroid Prime is destroyed, a strange communication is broadcast from the Alembic Cluster, formerly ruled by an insanely powerful species, the Alembics. It states that a secret ultimate power resides within, setting off a frantic race as the most powerful bounty hunters of the galaxy can't resist such a prize. Samus is sent in to prevent this power from falling into the wrong hands. She outhunts fellow hunters Candon, Noxus, Spire, Trace, Weevil, and Sylux. More on him later. On her way to activating the Alembic Cannon and uncovering this ultimate power. Once she reaches it, she finds that it's no super weapon, but the destructive being Gorea. Samus defeats the monster and she and the other hunters escape, earning some brownie points from the ancient Alembics. Metroid Prime 2. Echoes. Later, Samus receives a new mission to rescue Squad Bravo, who lost contact with the Galactic Federation while exploring the planet Aether. Bad weather forces Samus to crash land on the planet, where she discovers the disturbing results of Metroid Prime absorbing her Phazon suit. Dark Samus. This new rival doppelganger is Prime's new manifestation, and it's as hungry for Phazon as it was before. Dark Samus escapes through a portal to Dark Aether, the parallel universe Aether that's toxic to Samus and home of the dark, nefarious Ing. Samus escapes the dimension, but not without first being attacked and losing most of her powers once again. Samus explores the regions of Aether, including a GFS vessel and some more temple grounds. She finds Umos, a peaceful native Luminoth sentinel who guides Samus through the restoration of Aether and the destruction of the Ing. See, the Ing are leeching off of normal Aether's energy and are bleeding the planet dry. Samus proves to be the planet's great savior and is eventually granted the powerful light suit. With help from her new suit, she annihilates the Emperor Ing in the Sky Temple. As the entirety of Dark Aether begins to self-destruct, she is confronted once more by Dark Samus. It's an epic battle, but regular Samus prevails, prevents another suit-stealing situation, and safely makes it back to regular old Aether. The native Luminoths begin to reawaken on the planet, and Samus leaves victorious, oblivious that the pesky Metroid Prime is still refusing to die. Until Metroid Prime 3, Corruption. After another 6 months, Samus meets up with fellow bounty hunters Gore, Rundus, and Gandrada as they attempt to cure the Galactic Federation network from a nasty space pirate virus. But suddenly, space pirates launch a massive assault, and our hunters head to nearby Norian for its defense cannon. Meta Ridley shows up for another beating, and he and Samus basically recreate the battle between Gandalf and the Balrog. A giant Phazon meteor called a Leviathan Seed is heading towards Norian, but our hunters manage to power up the defense cannon. However, before they can activate it, Dark Samus attacks. Fortunately, Samus musters up the energy to finish the activation before falling into a month-long slumber. After Samus wakes up, she discovers that all the hunters have been corrupted by Phazon. Each hunter went off to take down new Leviathan seeds, but, naturally went missing. Gee, I wonder what happened. So now, it's up to Samus to pick up their slack and save each threatened sector of the galaxy. First, Samus heads to Brio and finds Rundus, the first corrupted hunter. Samus saves the planet after taking down a monstrous golem, Mognar, as the Phazon within her own system continues to take over. Samus then heads over to Skytown, Elysia, formerly created by her pals the Chozo, by the way, to fight the corrupted Gore and mechanoid Helios. Finally, she heads to the space pirate homeworld itself. Here, Samus takes down the shifty, disguised Gandrada and uses a Nova Beam to deactivate that planet's defense shield so the Federation can lead an all-out assault. During this battle, it's time for yet another rematch. Oh yeah, Samus and Omega Ridley duke it out, and I'll give you 2 guesses as to who won. But by now, Samus's corruption is getting out of hand. Fortunately, once she discovers the planet Phase, Samus is able to beeline it straight there via a wormhole. Overloaded with Phazon, Samus enters a permanent state of hyper mode. 3 games and 2 spin-offs are enough to make anyone impatient, so it's time to put Dark Samus / Metroid Prime to rest once and for all. Samus defeats the doppelganger, purging her own body of the poison and leading to the destruction of the entire planet and source of Phazon. Samus flies away, victorious, but her old rival Sylux seems to be right on her tail. Metroid Prime Federation Force. Okay, Marcus. You know they don't care about this one, but you gotta cover it for the timeline. So, the Federation realizes that their overdependence on Samus was just a tad ridiculous, so they create mech suits, similar to Samus's, for their highest trained soldiers. And so, the Federation force is formed. They go on their first exciting mission, an archaeological survey of a territory in the Bermuda system. Of course, they're attacked by the always persistent space pirates during their mission. They eventually learn about a monstrous pirate battleship weapon called the Doom's Eye, the new MacGuffin to be taken down. The pirates somehow manage to capture and brainwash Samus herself, and the Federation force has to defeat her in her giant morph ball form. The force then takes down Master Brain, allowing for the destruction of the Doom's Eye before preparing to sacrifice themselves. Nah, just kidding. Samus saves them in the midnight hour. I mean, come on, what'd you expect? Side note, the team's actually foolish enough to take a discovered Metroid egg with them to the Federation base, and our buddy Sylux is right there to find and hatch the gosh darn thing. Come on, Sylux. Jerk move. Metroid 2, Return of Samus, and Metroid Samus Returns. So, after the incident on Zebes and the multiple Prime misadventures, the Galactic Federation holds a very serious meeting. Those Metroid rascals are just too pesky to leave lying around the galactic neighborhood. It's time to exterminate their entire population. Xenocide. What could go wrong? They send in a couple of teams to SR-388 to get the job done, but surprise, they go missing. So who are you gonna call? Who do you think? Samus arrives on SR-388 and begins to traverse deep into the planet, eliminating each Metroid one by one. Turns out the Metroid she's used to fighting were nothing more than, little babies. Larvae. Child's play. The deeper Samus ventures, the more developed and evolved the monsters become. Alpha Metroids, Gamma Metroids, Zeta Metroids, and giant Omega Metroids. Slowly but surely, they all fall to Samus's arm cannon. After taking out every last Metroid in the hive itself, it's time for Samus to take down the Queen. Channeling her inner Ripley, not Ridley, Ripley, Samus blows the Big Mama to smithereens with a clever use of her morph ball bombs. During her escape, she stumbles upon a hatching Metroid egg. Out pops a baby Troid, but as Samus prepares to exterminate it, she hesitates. This thing is, you know, kinda cute. Oh, and it thinks she's her mother? Oh my god. I guess badasses do have a heart, as Samus decides to spare the baby Metroid. They're attacked by Proteus Ridley, a half-regenerated Ridley who's determined to win this time. Spoiler alert, he doesn't, and Samus escapes the planet with her new adoptee. Super Metroid. Immediately afterwards, Samus entrusts the baby Metroid to the care and study of scientists on Ceres. Rookie move. As soon as she leaves, she has to turn right back and answer a distress call. See, back on Ceres, she finds Ridley stealing the baby Metroid and prepares to take down her nemesis once more. But Ridley wins. Wait, that can't be right. Yeah, Ridley actually escapes with the Metroid back to the revitalized space pirate base on Zebes from way back in Samus's Zero mission. And traveling back to Zebes, just like that original mission, Samus must defeat bosses to gain access to Torian and destroy the pirates' Metroid research along with their leader, Mother Brain. This time, she needs to defeat 4 Guardians. See, Kraid is back in Brinstar, bigger than ever, while Ridley waits to get defeated once again within Norfair. But this time, there's the mysterious, possibly undead Phantoon haunting the spooky wrecked ship. There's also the misunderstood Dragon, waterlogged within the Meridia Labs, and he just wants to scoop Samus up and give her a hug. Poor guy. With access to Torian, Samus once again defeats all the Metroids and fights her way through Mother Brain's defenses. Only this time, Mama's not gonna take a beating lying down. She reveals a massive, hungry, snarling mechanical body that proves too powerful for Samus to handle. Things look dire as the Brain prepares her final blow, when suddenly, the now oversized baby Metroid charges in and attacks. Sacrificing itself, the baby Metroid imbues Samus with power for the Hyper Beam, and Samus gets hasty vengeance. She escapes another crumbling base, saving the animals on the way, of course, which is really dumb because it wastes precious seconds, but whatever. Anyway, she escapes the planet Zebes before it explodes once and for all. Metroid Other M. Okay, we can get through this. A few weeks after the destruction of Zebes, Samus follows a distress signal to the Bottle Ship, where she finds a Galactic Federation platoon led by her former commanding officer, Adam Malkovich. She really, painfully respects this Malkovich guy. He lets her help blindly investigate the ship, and she makes her way through the various biomes found within. Throughout the ship, Samus uncovers some pretty fishy activity, such as illegal bioweapon research and attacks from soldiers sporting Galactic Federation gear. Clearly, there's a traitor afoot. Also, Ridley somehow survived the big boom on Zebes and proves to be, well, you know, mildly annoying once more. Samus meets scientist Melissa Bergman, who explains what happened to the ship. The Federation were breeding weaponized soldiers akin to space pirates. Even worse, they were cloning new Metroids from DNA Samus unknowingly collected. This DNA cloning is also how Ridley showed up. It's just, you know, a clone version of him. Though Malkovich didn't support the project, he's still got blood on his hands. You know, he wrote the report on Metroids that helped the Fed see how powerful Metroids can actually be. He sacrifices himself while blowing up Sector Zero, which held the extra terrifying, unfreezable Metroids. We fans were, you know, so bummed that he died. Trust me. Samus defeats the second Metroid Queen of the series, then encounters the real Melissa Bergman. The one she met before was just an android version of MB, the AI maternal figure created to control the Metroids. MB, Mother Brain, yeah, you get it. This rogue AI is the reason why the Bottle Ship's creatures turned against their creators in the first place. Samus, the real Melissa, and Federation Marines defeat the Skynet wannabe. Soon after, the Federation decides to completely destroy the Bottle Ship, but Samus just can't get enough of last-minute escapes, so she ventures back in to snag Adam's helmet before the ship explodes. Metroid Fusion. So after this misadventure, Samus heads out on a relatively relaxed mission, protecting a research team back on the now Metroidless SR-388. Here, she's attacked by the mysterious X-Parasite. This virus infects both Samus and her suit, resulting in a nearly fatal crash. But the virus is the real danger to her health. Scientists realize they still have some leftover Metroid DNA and use it in a vaccine that physiologically transforms Samus, granting her Metroid protection and X-immunity abilities. See, it turns out the reason Metroids exist in the first place is to combat combat this even more dangerous X. The Chozo actually created the Metroids because they realized just how destructive X could be. With this immunity and a surgically altered new suit, Samus heads to the Biologic Space Laboratory's research station that's now completely infected with X from the samples recovered on SR-388. With guidance from her ship's computer, named for her old commander, Adam Malkovich, Samus fights through the varied locations of this research station, eradicating every trace of X that she can find. She soon discovered what happened to the infected pieces of her old power suit. They've been used to create another doppelganger for the series, the even creepier SA-X. I mean, just look at those eyes. Whew. Deep in the station, Samus discovers yet another cultivation of Metroids. The Federation clearly didn't learn last time and are still trying to breed the devils for weaponry. To make matters worse, the Federation now has an interest in the even more deadly X. So Samus decides her own plan B is slightly better. You know, blow up the whole ship with both threats on board. With the help of Shipform Adam, she starts the sequence and embarks on one final escape. Only a mutated, giant Omega Metroid stands in her way. Fortunately, the Metroid's true enemy, X, in the form of the SA-X, arrives to do battle with its natural foe. The SA-X is defeated, and Samus can absorb its powers, restoring her to her full strength and allowing her to deal the chilling Ice Beam final blows. The station then crashes onto SR-388, and both are annihilated, destroying X and the Metroids once and for all, for the final time, for now. Man, Xenocide hasn't been this much fun since Orson Scott Card. So many great titles, it's really impossible to pick which adventure is the best. Super Metroid. Let me know your favorite Samus space adventure and why it's Super Metroid. And subscribe if you agree that Samus would win in a fight against any other Nintendo character. It's not even close. And, you know, subscribe if you don't agree. I'm your host Marcus for The Leaderboard. Thanks for watching.